guys, and welcome back. And we are back with another episode on the SCANIA 143 restoration. So it's been a while, guys, since we did anything on this project. As I explained previously, we've had a lot of other stuff going on in the background. We've been waiting for certain bits and bats for this project, and we've been crazy busy. I've been away for a while on holiday with the family, so we're now back on with this project. It's been probably the best part of 2 weeks now since we updated this project. Just a quick walk around just to recap where we got up to with this. Apologies if you've already seen this progress, guys, but there is some people who are just joining the channel who are seeing this project for the first time, so just for these guys as well, they can see where we're up to on this project. So obviously we got all this front end rebuilt previously. We had all this stuff zinc plated. We replaced all these bushes, we repainted all this bulkhead, repainted all this and all this side. We got the cab prepped and painted, still looking nice and shiny. Quick walk around here, again, cab painted. This has not been done, as I previously explained, because obviously we're in and out of the cab that much. We've got to put all the interior back in there yet, and obviously oily boots and stuff. We don't want to be painting this and scratching it all while we're getting in and out of the cab, so we're going to be leaving these wheel arches and the step pods and everything to one of the last things once all the interior is done. We managed to get the rams off again on a previous episode, which was an absolute nightmare of a job, but they are off. They are still with the hydraulic specialist. Still waiting for some back word on these. We're hoping to get these back pretty soon, because it's been, I think the guys had them now for almost 4 weeks. So hopefully we'll hear something back on these soon, because it is holding the project up now. There's not a lot we can do till we get them back on. Again, none of this stuff's been painted. This is going to get repainted some point in the near future, and we're also going to repaint all this chassis again. So all this is now going to be done in one hit and get refreshed with some nice shiny red paint. All the airbags got done. We did a load of the running gear. All the back axles been rebuilt, new chambers, new slack adjusters. What else did we do? Airbags, did some repiping. We've had these cross members rebuilt. We got these back from the steel fabricator, which was Ken Brogdon's in Haywood. Did a fantastic job of making these. You can see they fit pretty snug across that chassis. We did put some little notches in the chassis before we cut the old one off, so we do get this back in the correct position, ready for the body to go back on here. So obviously that's quite important that this goes back exactly how it came off, and this is an exact replica of the one that we've taken off that was rotten. So these dimensions are exactly the same. This has all been made to measure, custom fabrication, all been laser cut. It's had the chamfers put in it, and all this sort of stuff's been cut out with the lasers. So yeah, that's going to be one of the things we're going to get into on this episode. We are going to get this welded in position and fixed solid. We have painted underneath of this. Obviously we're not going to be able to get in there very well once it's welded on completely, so we put some paint under there so we know that's good, and that's got some protection under there before we weld it on. We're going to be stripping out quite a lot of this nasty old wiring that's no longer required. There's some power cables down here for the old Anderson jump points which was in the lockers. We're going to be pulling all that out and replacing that and running some new cables in. There has been some pipe work that got damaged when we had to burn the rams out. It just couldn't be out. We did as much as we could to protect this stuff, but you know, the amount of heat that had to go in there, there was some damage caused to the pipe work, but it's only 6mm pipe. We can replace this, that's not an issue. So we might get into that on this episode as well. All this sort of stuff's going to be replaced at a later date once we've got the rams back. All this hydraulic hoses, which are looking a little bit worse for wear, are all going to get replaced. That is our other cross member, which fits on the front of the chassis over there. We have noticed a bit of an issue with this, where these should actually have captive bolts welded underneath, so the bolts drop in through the body, through the top, and bolt in to this, and unfortunately they've not been put back in, so we are going to have to do that ourselves, and we're going to have to come up with an idea of getting these bolts captivated into there, because you can't get a spanner or anything in that when the body's on, because the body actually slots over all this, so you cannot get access to them once the side lockers go back on. So that is another thing we need to do. take you around into the cab. Let's get this door open up. So we've got a lot of the sound deadening done. I've got 95% of this door now covered in the sound deadening padding. We got all the backboard done, we got all into the roof area done, and we got the rear quarter panels done both sides. That's come out pretty well. That should work a treat. All inside there is done as well. So that's looking pretty tidy in there. We did give this a lick of paint in here as well before we did this, so it had a nice fresh clean surface for this to adhere to. And we also put this on with a roller. As you can see, it's all moulded into all the ribs and the structure of the cab. It's not baggy, it's not loose, it's all in there nice and tight. It's all been rolled in properly, so that isn't going anywhere. I'll just take you over to the other side of the workshop, show you what Tom's been up to. We did have a bit of an issue with the side lockers. One of the previous episodes you've seen that we actually got these in primer. Unfortunately, there was a reaction between the primer and the body filler, so we've had to sand back all these back down to the bare metal again. We used a Leckler product on here, an Leckler epoxy primer, which we've used before, and we've used all the proper hardeners and the thinner that came as a kit, so there was no wrong products used here, and the primer went on really well, set really well, but as soon as we started applying body filler, the body filler actually softened the primer and it all just came off and it was all going gloopy and it just wasn't right. All this has been treated with phosphoric acid and Built Amber Hydrate 80 rust cure, so this should be good now anyway. It should be rust protected pretty well. So we've had no other option, we've had to actually start filling this without the primer, and then obviously once all the filler work's done, we're then going to put the primer over the top of it. So he's only just started this side, started putting some filler into this side locker. He got the flyer primered. We've not actually started to do any filler work on this yet. This is all bare metal work basically. There's no filler gone into this at all yet, and you've seen we did a lot of welding on here and it's all flatted back and come out really well. We are going to give this a little skim of filler, but as you can see there, that's come out pretty well considering there's no filler work gone into that at all yet. We replaced all this side and put a lot of patches into this, replaced all these top corners, so that should come out really well once it's had a bit of filler work. This is where he's been spending most of his time. This has had a hell of a lot of filler work. We're trying to get these as flat as possible. Obviously there's a lot of steel here and there's a lot of welding gone on, so this did need quite a lot of filler work just to make it nice and flat and level. So he's put a lot of time and effort into this to get it as flat as possible. As you can see, there's a lot of filler gone in there, so that should be nice and flat. Should come out pretty damn well by the time we've finished. So just back over here, guys. So like I say, the aim of the game for today is to get that rear cross member welded on, and hopefully we are going to get into the wiring loom issue that we had a few episodes ago, where the cab nearly set on fire because there was a short somewhere behind the dash, which we narrowed down to the ignition barrel locking device. That has all now been removed, and we did start to do a lot of this, and we've replaced a lot of this wiring. As you can see there, we soldered it up. We've got some heat shrinks on there. Heat shrinks haven't actually been heated and sealed up yet because there's still some more wiring we need to do. So hopefully in this episode we're going to get this wiring finished off, get that cross member welded in, and we're going to try and get some batteries on this truck at some point over the next couple of days and bring this thing back to life, because it hasn't been run now for a while since that dashboard flared up on us. We've not risked our chance putting any batteries back on this, obviously with the wiring all being melted. So hopefully the next couple of days, guys, we'll get this thing running again and we'll be able to move it and get it moved around the workshop as we need to. So just a little recap there for you. That's where we're up to. That's what we're going to be doing over the next couple of days and within this episode. So we'll crack on, guys. Let's get to it. Right guys, so that is the cross member welded on. Got it the best I can get it. I ain't no professional welder, but that ain't going nowhere. Did a couple of passes on that, got it nice and solid. Same again around this side. I've also gone up inside the cross member and got a little bit of weld up in there as well. So now that's done, we can move on to a bit of wiring. Cleared a bit of stuff out of inside of the dash. Just get this door open for you guys, 1 minute. Difficult with no handles. I've cleared some stuff out. Just some of the dash panels we dropped on top to get them out of the way while we did the sound deadening. So I've cleared them out of the way now, and we've got access back to all this wiring loom. I'll get some lights put inside this cab, and hopefully we can get this wiring boxed off and finished tonight. Right, so you see in there we've got quite a lot of that wiring done there. That's pretty much all of it now. There's a couple of tiny little bits left to do, but we know this is safe now for trying to power the vehicle back up. So it is all still like spaghetti junction, but obviously we do have to tidy that up. But for test purposes, there's no point putting all this back together just yet until we've tried and tested this and make sure it ain't gonna short out again. So what we're doing at the moment is we're just getting rid of and isolating anything that isn't needed, because there's a lot of power takeoffs on this for Anderson Lee's jump points. There was a battery isolator switch as well. There's quite a lot of power cables that all come up into one area. So we're just sort of weaning our way through these now, and we're just finding obviously the main earth point and the main live from the starter motor. So we know we're only having to power those two up. Everything else can then be disconnected and made safe, so we know we're only powering up what we need to. So that's what we're doing at the moment. We're just having a good dig through the chassis, trying to root out all this unnecessary stuff now. Obviously we will be putting these back in, back into the Anderson points once the lockers are on, but we'll be running all new cable up here, putting all new Anderson leads or Anderson ends into the lockers at that point. So we're going to work our way through this and see where we get to. Right, okay, so we've got rid of all the cabling we didn't need. We've done the majority of the wiring behind the dashboard to the point where we know it's safe. So now we're at the point where we've got a junk pack on it. We know we've only got our live and our earth cables there now, so we've not got a load of stuff to get confused with. We've both just agreed that at this point we are both very scared. So what we're going to do now, we're going to connect the batteries up, fingers crossed, have a little bit of a fire watch, and hopefully we don't get any smoke out of this dashboard. We're then going to attempt to turn the ignition on and see if this thing spins over. So fingers crossed guys, let's see what happens. Let's power this up, knock it on.
Are you sure?
Yeah, do it.
Point of no return. It's not gone bang.
So we're all connected up. Let's have a look in here guys. So far so good, nothing seems to be getting warm. We've got power to the taco. There's no smoke over there. Right, let's go for an ignition turn on. Let's see what we get. See if we get any power for the dash. Ooh. Right, so we've got dash lights. We're getting any smoke now, we're powered up. Still looking good. Well, there's no smoke yet. Everything alright your end? No, then why is it getting warm or anything, are they? Right, I'm just going to rest you here for a minute. Right, sorry guys, just had to put you on a tripod there because Glenn's going to stay by the battery just in case this goes wrong, so we can rip this battery lead back off. I'm just going to attempt to turn this over now and see if we've got life and see if this engine spins over. You ready? Ignition on.
Yeah.
Right guys, so she runs. We had a little moment of a bit of panic there because we thought the thing wouldn't turn off. We turned the key off and it didn't turn off, and then we had to remember, well Glenn remembered, that it's actually a pull cable to turn it off. So after a moment of panic, it finally turned off. So we're happy with that. It now runs again.
She's alive.
The wirings seems to be sorted. Obviously it all wants tidying up now, a few bits finishing off. All rerouting, cable tying, strapping up, making nice and tidy, but happy days. That's a good night that. It lives, it runs, it drives. So on that note guys, that is going to be it for this one. Again, hope you enjoyed the episode. Give us a thumbs up, drop us some comments, let us know what you think, and we'll see you all in the next one.